Welcome to Unconfuse Me. I'm Bill Gates. And you have this cannabis lifestyle business called Houseplant.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I always talked about how much weed I smoked. Ever since I was young, I started when I was in my early 20s, writing and acting and producing. And people always really liked that I was honest about the fact that I smoked a lot of weed and that I was like a productive, normal member of society. And a lot of people were that also, but no one was talking about it and no one made them feel like they could talk about it. And the impression of every stoner was that they were like a lazy loser. And I was anything but a lazy loser. I was like creating like a prolific, career at the time when all I would do was smoke weed all day, every day, which is all I still do. So so it really, it's great now to be able to make things for people who smoke weed that are nice things and that have thought put into them. Because if you're like me and smoked weed your whole life, you've never bought anything that was nice and had thought put into it. It all seemed like it was like concocted in like a dorm room at 4 a.m. And so the idea that, that there could be like nice home goods and kind of like a lifestyle, products for people who smoke weed that were actually like elevated was, it was fun from like a company standpoint, but also from like emotionally connecting with people who grew up like me smoking weed and kind of being told that they should feel shame about it. Like, I think things like Houseplant make you feel like you don't need to feel ashamed of it,
I love music, and I always think it's fun to hear from other people what some of their favorite tunes are. And so I encourage you to bring something along. Did you bring something?
We sure did.
Yeah, we did.
Well, speaking of Houseplant, one of the fun things that we do at Houseplant is we created these like essentially mix records.
Oh, wow.
And the idea is that, what the idea originally came from is that we created essentially like playlists that went along with different strains of weed. So like the sativa playlist is upbeat music. The indica playlist is really mellow music, and the hybrid music is right in between. And so, yeah, that's what these are. And me and my friends picked all the songs, and it's a lot of soul music. It's a lot of funk and R&B music, stuff like that. Does this work? Should I put it on?
Yeah.
This is a hybrid song.
And it's like a perfect hybrid song.
Yeah, it is.
It's like you want to vibe your head, but you don't really want to get up and dance.
Yeah, but it's not going to put you to sleep. It's right in the middle.
If you smoke enough weed, are there carcinogenic effects or?
There's none that have been like definitively proven. And I think part of the reason is I can also say like we've never had a doctor tell us to stop smoking weed. Like, and
bring it up,
we're very upfront with all of our doctors. Lauren goes to neurologists. She's part of programs and studies, and no one has been like, you should stop smoking weed for the health of your brain. And so that's been good and nice. And it's nice that this thing that I do is not antithetical to the other thing I do, and that potentially there are therapeutic effects to the manifestations of dementia, things like mood and appetite and things like that, and so if anything it could be helpful,
But because it's not federally legal, there isn't money to fund research.
Yeah, and it's scheduled in a way that makes it like unstudyable in a lot of ways. Like it is federally illegal for labs to have, it's incredibly complicated to have it, and it's scheduled next to like heroin, and so it's not federally accessible for study in the way that it could be. So people actually understood like what it was and was not doing, which I would love to know.
Yeah, I've always wondered if we started from scratch and we said, okay, society, you can have one drug. You can either have alcohol or pot.
Oh my God.
Oh, they would have picked weed for sure. Yeah.
Well, weed's much less.
Oh, I mean, at the, we go out with our friends and they drink, and, of course I'll have a drink every now and then, but like the amount that people drink versus like the amount that we smoke, like someone the day after a night of drinking and someone versus someone the day after a night of smoking weed.
Oh, yeah.
You're in a very different condition.
Alcohol's the worst drug. They did a real like marketing thing there. Like they took a drug that like, it's like you have fun for like 25 minutes and then you have a headache, you're vomiting. The whole next day you feel terrible.
You say stupid things.
Yeah, exactly. And like, they've done a really good job of selling it as a good drug, but it's one of the worst.
The one complaint I've heard about legal pot is that a lot of us who are smoking it when it was illegal, the dosage was actually pretty modest.
Yeah.
And so at least as you move into the legal pot world, you can
There's higher
be
doses.
getting like really extreme doses, particularly on the edibles where,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I know, okay, if I puff 5 times what that means.
Yeah.
Whereas if you ingest, I have no clue.
Oh, no. An edible can really, there's no,
And, yeah, that's
they
a good-
should study those and dose those out properly.
That's a
because you
place-
can really do some
That's a
stuff.
place where federal regulations really help, I think. It would be really nice if there was some sort of standard. Yeah, edibles, I don't mess with that. Snoop Dogg doesn't eat edibles. Like,
wow.
That's how wild the variation on edibles is that like you really don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, it's another thing, like Seth's dad once accidentally ate a whole brownie,
Yeah.
an entire brownie out of our fridge. That is the kind of thing that if I would have had 1/8
A little
of it.
bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he thought he was dying.
He literally said, "Just take me to the hospital. I'm done."
He was fine.
How old were you when you first smoked pot?
And I do not recommend this. I
Okay.
was probably like 13 years old. I'm from Vancouver. It was a different place and time. But yeah, when I was in 8th grade, I really wanted to try it. I was like, I was out to try it. I was seeking it out. And the first time I smoked pot, I didn't get stoned at all. And it took me a lot of times to actually understand even like how to breathe it in properly.
I was 18. Weed wasn't really around so much. I grew up in Central Florida. There wasn't a ton of weed in my high school times, but it did appear a few times. But I was like, I will only drink in high school and I'm going to wait to smoke weed until college because I want to save it. But when I arrived at college, I was like, it's on. It's time.
And back at you, Bill. When was
Yeah,
the
my
first
high
time you
school-
smoked pot?
I'd say 105 people in my class. I think there were 3 or 4 who didn't smoke.
Oh, wow.
Because it was kind of a, hey, I'm an adult. Hey, I can break the rules. But I will say, like you, sometimes it's like, I guess I'm doing this to be cool. It wasn't so much smoking for pot's sake as it was, kind of being
the
part of
culture
the crowd.
associated with it.
No, it's amazing how it's changed. When I grew up, it was just kind of a rebellion
Yeah.
thing. Subscribe to Unconfuse Me wherever you listen to podcasts.